People are asking if the new ACX deal is good. Well, good compared to what? Hi, I'm your host, Becky Parker Geist. It's hot here in Oregon, as it is in so many places around the world, but it's also hot in some other ways, in terms of some other very hot things that are happening in the audiobook world. So let's jump into it. Today, we're going to try to decode the new ACX plan, and let's start off with the basics. I'm going to assume that there might be a few people out there listening who aren't really sure exactly what I'm talking about when I refer to ACX. So just quickly, ACX is the production distribution side of Audible, all part of the Amazon ecosystem. And you may have heard me say before that I am not in favor of and don't encourage our author clients to utilize the ACX platform for distribution. Why? A few reasons. One is that it is extremely limiting in terms of how far your audiobook reaches. If you only go through ACX, then you're limited to Audible and iTunes. The end. That's it. Now, depending on the deal that you have, whether you choose an exclusive or non-exclusive contract, if it's non-exclusive, you can additionally go some other places, like Authors Republic, for example. There are other reasons as well. ACX has notoriously terrible customer service, but let's get into the details because there's a lot of confusion around what's happening with this new model that they just announced and launched recently at the end of May. If you haven't listened to the first episode in this series, then I encourage you to do that. And after this one, we'll have 2 more episodes coming up. So, ACX and the new model. First of all, just in brief, if you've been with ACX or are familiar with it, then you will know that the old model was you would get 40% if you went exclusive and 25% if you went non-exclusive of net sales receipts. Not the gross amount that the listener or customer is paying. No. 40 or 25% of the net. That means they're taking out what they consider to be their costs before they calculate what you might get as at the end in royalties. Their calculation on the net leads to very low royalties through the ACX platform. Now, what they're offering at this point and are saying that you need to decide whether you're going to be with them or not before the end of this year, this calendar year. Their new offer is 50% if you go exclusive and 30% if you go non-exclusive. But now what they're changing it to is something they call member value. What is member value? Member value, they state, is the audiobook listener member. Okay, so those are the members, the subscribers to their platform on Audible. So the member's monthly fee, most often that's $14.95, but others, depending on which plan they have and how many audiobooks they consume, it could be more than that overall. So their monthly fee minus taxes and fees, and then split across the titles that they listened to. So that is a more complex calculation, maybe, than they had before. It's still all very hidden. It's not transparent at all. You don't get to see the actual details. I still feel like that is wrong, that when you're in a contractual agreement, that you, as one party to that agreement, should be able to see all the details of the calculations. It feels to me like and has for years, that is just a class action suit waiting to happen. But in any case, they have now defined this member value. So now that includes this all-you-can-listen engagement and not just one-off purchases. So when it's a all-you-can-listen kind of engagement, that might mean that somebody goes in and listens to 10 minutes of an audiobook here, 20 of one there. They're sort of poking around, trying to decide what they're going to listen all the way, to listen to the whole thing. So you could end up with lots and lots of titles that are getting a little piece of that action. Is that going to be good for you or worse for you? We don't know. It's going to really vary, probably month to month and person to person. I don't see how it could not. So apparently, according to the research I did, the early results are showing, as I suspected, very mixed. For some authors, the royalties have gone up a bit, and for some, they have gone down because this payout is swinging with platform-wide listening. Another change that they've implemented is that now, instead of having to wait 7 years once you choose whether you're going to be exclusive or non-exclusive, now there is a 90-day minimum. So that's good. And then after that, you only get to switch one time. That's it. So you want to make sure that you make your decision wisely. As much as I am generally opposed to ACX for many, many reasons, there's the possibility that it might still make sense for some of you. So I want to be upfront and fair, and I want to talk a little bit about this, the way that the platform is now doing this sort of what they call built-in discovery and promo placement stuff. I'm going to dive into more details about that because it's a little murky. It might make sense if you have backlist titles and they already have a strong, consistent, existing sales history with Audible. Then for those titles, it may well make sense for you to stay there and just continue on with that. I mean, if it's working, good, But also, we want to keep in mind that it is one piece of a much bigger distribution option. It should be one piece of a mix, not the entire strategy. Before we talk more about that, I want to go into this thing called their discovery and their promo placement and what that really means. So Audible, if you're in this on this program with them, they will suggest your book to listeners who follow similar authors or browse similar genres. It's automatic. You don't have any extra work that you need to do about that. But remember how many titles are on that platform, and you still are dealing with all of the competition within that. It might increase the visibility on the Audible platform, maybe, but it's not guaranteed, right? Okay, another thing is the WhisperSync thing. All right, what that is, the WhisperSync is this program they developed where if you buy a Kindle ebook and the matching audiobook, then they will give the listener a discounted upgrade price. It's usually like, $2 to $4. And it syncs your bookmark, where you left off between the Kindle ebook and the audiobook. It automatically kicks in once you have both versions live. You don't have to do anything about it, but I don't actually know how many people use that. I find it, I'm sure that some people do, and some people probably really enjoy it. And it may make more sense, I suppose, for someone who is listening to nonfiction as opposed to fiction. Personally, for me, it feels a bit like I'm going to go to the theater and watch the first act of Hamlet, and then I'm going to go home and read the play, the script. No, I don't think that's going to be anything like the same experience, right? But the other thing to keep in mind as the author is you're losing out on a lot of revenue in that way. Yes, you're going to get a little bit more, but probably pennies, really. So I don't see that as like a big factor to consider. And there's nothing that says that they won't still do that anyway for WhisperSync. But of course, you have to be on the platform. So the deal right now is they're trying to get you they're pushing you to make a decision. Are you with us or are you leaving? Because you have to agree to their terms by the end of this year, and their new terms, if you want to stay. The other thing is that if you go exclusive with them, which again, I just have to say, I think it's a really bad idea, so I discourage it. But if you do, they will give you 50 free promo codes per exclusive title. 25 for US listeners, 25 for UK. But it's only for exclusive. And here's the thing. Free codes can be very useful. I totally agree. And we're going to talk more about them in just a moment. But what if you wanted to have a 50% off or 20% off or $3 off? Those are not options, and you're not going to earn any royalties on them anyway, right? So just think through that decision if that's important to you, because they're not the only source of free promo codes. So we're going to get into that more in just a moment. But I will also say here, because I'm going to talk more about AMPlify, and how that compares. But there are other platforms like audiobooks.com. If you put in a request to have free promo codes, they will provide them for you. And they do not require any kind of exclusivity in order to receive those. So think that through. And then the other thing they're offering is Amazon advertising through ACX. Well, this is something that's fairly new. They're going to let you pay them even more money to run sponsored placements, targeting Audible and Amazon.com shoppers. It's not free. Keep that in mind. Amazon is well known for finding as many possible ways to capture as much of the revenue coming into their platform as possible. And what that means for you is they have you upload your content that you've paid for. They're going to take most of the revenue from every sale, and now they're going to let you pay them even more money so that you can market it through their platform. Do you see how they just keep chipping away? A little more here and a little more there. Like, I just don't see it as a real benefit big picture, right? Big picture in terms of the audiobook world or our lives, right? It's just a way to feed them more and earn more for their platform rather than for you. So that's my take on it. These are my opinions, and so I'll be clear about that. So in terms of like sort of wrapping this up into a quick picture about the ACX change and what we just talked about is that when you go exclusive on ACX, that those titles get folded into this algorithm and cross-promoted to Kindle readers. You get the free codes. When you trade away that with this exclusive option, you're trading away some royalties, a lot of royalties, and all your control, really. And we're going to talk now about how this is good compared to what, right? How you can actually, what's available to you that is going to be a much better deal anyway. So let's talk about that. But before we do, let's just take a short pause and we'll come right back. Okay, let's get real. Sadly, most authors struggle to reach their full audience and find it almost impossible to earn back their investment in audiobooks. Why? Because standard retailers pay such low royalties and give authors no control or marketing tools. But AMPlify Audiobooks is changing the equation. You earn about triple the royalties compared to standard retailers, and that adds up fast. You have complete control over pricing, access to who your customers are so you can connect with them, mapped out and gamified marketing quests so you always know what's next on your marketing journey. And it's fun. A host of built-in marketing tools to help you reach more people, and a community that's excited to discover and support new voices. All so you can become the successful author you've always dreamed of. So stop whispering into the void and start building real momentum. AMPlify Audiobooks, because books should bring us together in ways that help us all thrive. AMPlifyAudiobooks.com. Here is what we're going to talk about. You have these options through ACX. Are they good? Are they not good? I think you really have to look at what you're comparing them to. So the ACX platform, again, very limited in terms of its own channels for distribution. They take the most royalties of any of the platforms, so you earn the least. They want you to pay for the, if you want to run any sponsored placements, even though they're not going to increase your royalties any by doing so. Yes, their new program does include some slight differences, but I would venture to say that the majority of authors are not going to experience an increase in their royalties by turning to ACX and letting them handle your audiobook distribution. So let's look at the alternative. The main one, as I mentioned earlier, there are over 60 audiobook channels, most of them based in the United States, but they're all over the world. And it's a good idea to be out in all the places where your listeners might be looking for your kind of content. Now, when you're marketing your audiobook and everything, no matter where your audiobook is or your book is, if you want people to know about it, you're going to have to do some marketing. I mean, that's just part of the equation. How else will anyone find it? You have to do some marketing. And that can look like there's so many different ways to do that. And I'm sure that you can find a way that works for you, regardless of any feelings that you have about marketing in general. We certainly here at Pro Audio Voices and AMPlify Audiobooks, we try to make marketing fun and to help you succeed with your own marketing. So on AMPlify Audiobooks, when you're marketing, if you're on AMPlify, your best bet is to direct traffic to AMPlify. Why? Because, first of all, you're going to be earning so much more, like typically about 4 times what ACX is going to pay, even with their new royalty rate. Thing is, you're not going to be able to have an exact comparison because their pool is going to fluctuate all over the place. So there's not going to be any kind of consistency. You're at the mercy of their algorithms and their whatever their formula is for this member value thing. Whereas on AMPlify, you're going to be earning 65% of the gross amount that you decide to sell it for. You set the price. You decide if you want to put it on sale and run a promotion. You decide whatever kind of coupon codes you want to offer to whatever groups or people you want to offer them to. Anything from free, if that's what you want to do, to whatever. It's up to you. You have total control. And you have marketing tools that are built right into the platform to help you succeed with your marketing. See, Amplify is not just about transactions. It is about the ways that we can bring people together, because I really believe that books should bring people together in ways that help us all thrive. Well, on ACX, Amazon's thriving in that equation. Maybe the listeners are, but are you as the author? No, you're not. How can you when the terms are so much against you? I think that everyone should thrive and be a winner in each equation. So we use AMPlify Audiobooks as a way to bring people together around authors, around their books, around their content, to help, to help listeners and authors and narrators engage with each other about your book. And you can have conversations about the book. You can be part of an audiobook club where people meet in real time. Real humans, oh my gosh, real humans in real time meeting online. So you have the wide reach, and you also have, this ability to gather. And how do we do that? Whether it's an audiobook club or an event, let's say you want to do a launch event, you can do that on Amplify, and you'll be able to get the word out not just to your existing database, your existing audience. Everyone on the platform will be able to see that you have an upcoming event, and if it looks like something of interest to them, they can register to join you. Do you see how that can expand your audience simply by being on the platform? So we have events, we have audiobook clubs, we have built-in marketing tools that are like quests. They're like gamified marketing that helps build engagement and build connection and increase sales, and several other things, like all step-by-step tutorialized quests that will help you to pursue audiobook awards or reviews. These are tools that you just don't find anywhere else. You find them on Amplify because we are so committed to helping our authors thrive, and we pay a lot of attention to what authors need. So I'm not only the CEO and founder of Pro Audio Voices and Amplify Audiobooks, but I'm also have been for over 10 years now the president of Bay Area Independent Publishers Association. I get to see authors every month. I get to talk with them. I find out what they need. And I see the patterns over the many years. I see the patterns of how authors can succeed and where they get tripped up. And so the platform, Amplify Audiobooks, is built to support the success of every author on the platform. So coming back to ACX, it just gave you a slightly bigger slice of a pie that you don't control, compared to Amplify, where you have pretty much the whole bakery. So what I would like to do is encourage you, if you have further questions, please let me know. You can send an email to AC for Audiobook Connection at proaudiovoices.com. Let me know what questions you have. I may be able to cover them in the next segments of this series, or if they're not related to this whole ACX distribution shakeup, then in a future episode. I really want to hear your questions, because my intention and my hope is that this podcast will be valuable to the author and publisher community, and as well as to those who are working in this industry. Every one of us who are working in the industry, whether you're a narrator, an audio engineer, a producer, whoever you are, if you're supporting authors and publishers, then I encourage you strongly to let them know about Amplify Audiobooks. The big challenge right now is that not enough people know about it. So we're pushing to get the word out, and you can help. And if you are an author or a publisher yourself, please help us spread the word, because it takes a community to build the community. It takes all of us. And that's where it gets really exciting, because we're coming together. We're doing something together. We're creating this movement. And I want you to be part of it. I hope you will. Now, we started a new thing for the end of each podcast episode where I'm going to share with you a retail sample from a title on AMPlify Audiobooks. This week, we're going to share a sample from The Impresario's Wife, The Woman at the Center of the Texas Revolution by Barbara H. Sieber, narrated by Jennifer McCool. This audiobook just won the 2026 Gold winner of the Independent Publisher Book Awards for audiobook fiction. It has also won a few other awards, and as Kirkus Reviews wrote, this is a story of female grit and determination in the face of overwhelming challenges. There's enough romance, tragedy, and excitement to keep the pages turning. An engrossing, drama-fueled addition to Lone Star State Chronicles. I hope you enjoy. It's available, as I expected you would guess, on AMPlify Audiobooks. Take a listen.
We're passing through Guadalupe, Victoria, his territory. Point taken. Soon we'll be in Impresario DeWitt's colony, my territory. Get back in the cart. Beside the wagon, Will shifts and pushes the trunks and cases back into position. Finding a clean cloth, he douses it with a splash of whiskey. Will knows what to do when no one else does, which at this moment is to bandage Green's arm and remain his unruffled self. Swallowing hard, shaking, I start back to the ox cart. All these months, I think, even this mad ambush is just prelude after the perilous prelude down the Mississippi, across the Gulf, into the harbor of Matagorda Bay, after the months spent at the way station on the coast waiting for Green to negotiate with Mexican officials, while Indians, covered in alligator grease, watched from canoes, and food supplies ran shorter and shorter by the day, until the Mexican emissaries bade us depart De Leon's territory without delay and proceed north at once. Constant peril. And they proceed as if it were nothing, really nothing, Sarah, just swatting at flies. Green and Will, side by side, blue-eyed, silver-tongued, smooth-talking Green conjures the future from thin air, while wily, cool-hand Will puts his energy into the here and now. Green pushes the boundaries. Will tends them. And after these long...
And for everyone out there, keep listening, because books should bring us together in ways that help us all thrive. We'll catch you next time.